Welcome to Department of Zoology, Shri RLT College of Science, Akola. I am Dr. Archana Savarkar, Associate Professor in Zoology. Students, our today's topic is digestive system of Amphioxus. Digestive system of Amphioxus consists of alimentary canal and digestive glands. The alimentary canal is a straight and complete tube from mouth to anus, and it is lined throughout by ciliated epithelium. Here we can observe that the diameter of this alimentary canal is different at different parts of alimentary canal. These are the parts of alimentary canal. It starts with mouth, then oral hood, buccal cavity, then velum and enterostome, a large bag-like structure that is pharynx, then short esophagus, intestine, and it ends with anus. Let us see the parts of alimentary canal one by one. The first part is mouth. Here we can observe the mouth is situated on the ventral side. It is present at the mid-ventral position below the rostrum, and it is bordered by a frill-like membrane. This frill-like membrane is known as oral hood. We can see the detailed structure in next slide. Here we can observe that this mouth is surrounded by oral hood. This oral hood is formed by the dorsal and lateral projection of the anterior end of trunk. This oral hood is fringed with, or it is bisect with, near about 10 to 11 pairs of steep, slender and ciliated buccal cirri. It is also known as buccal cirri or oral cirri. This buccal cirri as well as the base of this oral hood, it is supported by again a gelatinous rod-like skeletal structure. This is the lateral view and we can observe the oral hood of Amphioxus in front view. These buccal cirri, they are provided with steep gelatinous skeletal rod-like structure, and it forms just a sieve-like structure. And the function of this buccal cirri or oral hood is it prevents the entry of larger food material as well as the sand particle in the mouth of animal, that is Amphioxus. Again, we can observe here that these buccal cirri, they are provided with number of sensory papillae. Then next part of this alimentary canal is vestibule. The mouth opens into a funnel-like structure, a funnel-like cavity. It is known as vestibule. This cavity is lined with ectoderm. This at the base of vestibule, there is another part of this alimentary canal, that is veal organ. Basally, the epithelial lining of oral hood forms 6 to 8 pairs of finger-like folds or patches. This each fold is formed by ciliated groove bounded by ciliated ridge, and collectively this structure is known as veal organ or rotary organ. It is also known as Muller's organ. In front view, we can observe this wheel organ like this. The function of wheel organ is it forms a whirling like current of water and sweep the food organism into mouth. Again, one feature of this wheel organ is the mid-dorsal groove is the largest. It ends in a small depression on the roof of this vestibule. And it was first observed by the scientist Hatchett, and that's why it is known as Hatchett groove and Hatchett's pit. Both these structures are ciliated, glandular, and it secrete mucus. Again, this Hatchett pit is also considered as a sensory organ, but the proper function of this Hatchett pit is not known. Next part of alimentary canal is velum. This structure is the velum. Posteriorly, the vestibule is closed by circular ring-like vertical membrane. It is called as velum. The velum is perforated by a central aperture. It is circular central aperture, and this aperture is known as enterostome. Some author call this enterostome as mouth, but it is not true because it opens into the pharynx and lined with endoderm. Actually, the true mouth opens into stomodium and lined with ectoderm. This velum is provided with, again, sphincter. We can observe in this front position, this is the velar ring, and this velar ring, it is provided with sphincter muscles. The function of sphincter muscle is for opening and closing the enterostome. The posterior border of velum, here we can observe the posterior border of velum. It produces into 10 to 12 slender, ciliated and sensory tentacles. These are the velar tentacles. In front view, we can observe that velar tentacles are there. Again, these velar tentacles, they are provided with sensory papillae. Then what is the function of this velum or the velar tentacles? They also serve to strain the water current entering through the enterostome. Then this velum, it opens into a large bag-like structure, that is pharynx. We will see in detail in the next slide. The actual picture of this much area is seen here. This is the front region of branchiostoma or the amphioxus. The next part of alimentary canal is the pharynx. The pharynx is a very large, spacious and laterally compressed chamber forming the largest part of alimentary canal. This pharynx occupies nearly 1/2 anterior part of the body and remains suspended in the atrium or the atrial cavity. Let us see the structure of pharyngeal wall and gill slits. The lateral wall of pharynx are perforated by near about 150 to 200 pairs of closely and obliquely set narrow and vertical openings. Here we can observe these are the openings on both lateral side of the pharyngeal wall. These openings are known as gill slits or gill cleft. Through this opening, the pharyngeal cavity communicates with the atrial cavity. The gill slits bears no gills, and their number increases with the age of animal on the posterior side of pharynx. The portion of pharyngeal wall between these two adjacent gill slits is known as gill bar. The structure of gill bar is very important for examination point of view. Let us see the structure of gill bars. Before going to the detailed structure, first see the types of gill bar. There are two types of gill bar we can observe in this diagram. The primary gill bar and secondary gill bar. This is the primary gill bar, which encloses primary skeletal gill rod. This is the skeletal gill rod. At its free end, here is a forked structure. The skeletal gill rod of primary gill bar is having forked structure at its free end. This is again primary gill bar. In between this primary gill bar, there develops secondary gill bar from the dorsal side of the pharynx. These are the developing secondary gill bars and it is known as tongue bar. This one is fully developed secondary gill bar. Observe the free end of this secondary gill bar. It is not forked. Thus, this is the main difference between primary gill bar and secondary gill bar. What is the difference? The skeletal rod of primary gill bar is forked at the free end, whereas the skeletal rod of secondary gill bar is unforked at free end. Then say the pharyngeal gill slit. The space or the aperture in between two primary gill bar is known as primary gill slit. Mainly it is observed in younger animals and that's why it is also known as embryonic pharyngeal gill slits. Here again there is another aperture or gill slits which is present in between secondary gill bar and primary gill bar. This aperture is known as secondary gill slit. It is mainly found in the adult Amphioxus. That's why it is called adult gill slits. Then see the detailed structure of this primary and secondary gill bar. This is the primary gill bar and this is secondary gill bar. The gill bar consists of a ciliated epithelial covering, both ectodermal as well as endodermal. This epithelial covering encloses a mesodermal core in between them. This mesodermal core contains fibrous connective tissue, blood vessel and supporting gelatinous skeletal rod. We can observe here in both secondary as well as primary gill bar. Now see the difference between this skeletal rod. This skeletal rod of primary as well as secondary gill bar contains blood vessel. These are the blood vessel. But in primary gill bar, it encloses coelomic canal. The coelomic canal is present in the skeletal rod of primary gill bar only and it is absent in the secondary gill bar. This is another point of difference in between primary and secondary gill bar. Then see the epithelial lining of this gill bar. On the outer side there is epithelial lining. These epithelial lining are present on the side of atrium and that's why it is known as atrial epithelium. These are provided with very sparse cilia. Then on the lateral side of this epithelial lining, dense lateral cilia are present on both primary as well as secondary gill bar. On the inner side, pharyngeal epithelium is present, which bears long top cilia. These are called as frontal cilia. A space between these gill bar is nothing but gill slit or gill cleft. Here we can observe that these primary gill bars, in this figure you can see here, this primary gill bar, they are connected with each other by means of transverse gelatinous skeletal rod. This skeletal rod is called as synapticulum. Here also synapticulum. These synapticuli are present in between primary gill bars. Thus, you can see here that it gives basket-like appearance to the lateral wall of pharynx. This synapticuli also contains blood vessel. This is about the pharyngeal wall as well as the now see the ventral region of pharynx. This is the ventral region of pharynx. A hypobranchial tract, which is also known as endostyle, it extends mid-ventrally along the entire floor of the pharynx. This endostyle forms a shallow groove with 4 longitudinal tracts of mucus secreting gland cells, which alternates with 5 tracts of ciliated cell. Here in transverse section of endostyle, we can observe these 2 kinds of cell, that is the 4 tract of gland cell which secrete mucus, which alternate with 5 tract of ciliated cell. Here we can observe at the middle region the cilia are 2 longer. The endostyle is supported below by 2 gelatinous skeletal plates. Here the 2 gelatinous skeletal plates are observed which supports the endostyle. Again, you can observe the subendostylar coelomic cavity or subendostylar coelom here, which encloses ventral aorta as well as the coelomic canal. According to scientist Barrington, the endostyle is converted into thyroid gland of vertebrates because, like thyroid gland, it concentrates radioactive iodine. This is very important question for MCQ type. The endostyle of Amphioxus is considered as thyroid gland of vertebrates. Student, see here the endostyle on mid-ventral region of the pharynx. Now come to the mid-dorsal region of the pharynx to see this epipharyngeal groove. The epipharyngeal groove is a prominent ciliated groove present mid-dorsally along the roof of pharynx, and posteriorly it runs up to the esophageal opening. We can see here in this figure on the mid-ventral side, this epipharyngeal groove runs up to the region of esophagus. Then next is peripharyngeal band. We can observe here in the front region. These peripharyngeal bands are a pair of narrow ciliated tracts arising from the anterior end of endostyle. They run obliquely upward and backward, one along either lateral wall of the pharynx, and unite dorsally with the anterior end of epipharyngeal groove. These bands demarcate a small anterodorsal prebranchial region of the pharynx. Here we can see the prebranchial region of the pharynx, which is devoid of gill slits. Then next part of the alimentary canal is esophagus. Behind pharynx there lies a short esophagus. Posteriorly, the pharynx open into a short, narrow and tubular esophagus having ciliated internal lining and leading into the gut or intestine. Here, from this region, there is a intestine. The gut or intestine, it is as long as the pharynx. Intestine is suspended from the dorsal body wall by a dorsal mesentery into the atrial cavity. It is covered by a thin layer of smooth muscles and its internal epithelial lining has several ciliated tracts. The intestine can be differentiated into three parts. The anterior region, it is relatively wider region and known as midgut. A large blind pouch called as midgut diverticulum arises from the base of esophagus and from the starting of this midgut. This is the midgut diverticulum. The lining of midgut on the right lateral side bears a concentric lateral ciliary tract. Its cilia beats downward and direct the food current into midgut diverticulum. The midgut is followed by a densely ciliated ileocholic ring whose ciliary action rotates the mucus cord containing food. The hindgut that follows in narrower is terminal part or the rectum is heavily ciliated and opens to outside by means of opening anus. Anus is a small circular aperture controlled by a sphincter. It opens at the base of caudal fin, a little left of midventral line. This is the position of anus. Now see the digestive glands in Amphioxus. In case of Amphioxus, a single digestive gland is present and it is called as midgut diverticulum. This midgut diverticulum is often referred to as liver. It is again important MCQ type of question. Midgut diverticulum is referred as liver of the Amphioxus. It is the main digestive gland. It arises as a blind pouch from the ventral junction of esophagus and midgut and extend forward into atrial cavity on the right side of pharynx up to 1/3 of its length. It is surrounded by narrow coelomic cavity. The inner lining of this midgut diverticulum, it has strong ciliated groove for movement of the food. Again, a special type of cells are present in this midgut diverticulum. These are the zymogen cell. It secretes number of digestive enzymes. Beside the epithelial lining of intestine, again, this midgut diverticulum also contain numerous gland cells that secretes digestive enzyme. Thus, in this lecture, we have seen the complete digestive system of Amphioxus, that is, all parts of the alimentary canal as well as the digestive gland present in the digestive system of Amphioxus. After this long lecture, we will stop here. Thank you. Thank you very much.